Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz News and Entertainment with a Buzz. We see that politics is in the air. We see that the PNP, we see that the JLP are having their rally. We know that the election is on the 3rd of September 2025. So people are doing what they need to do to make sure that their party win. Because when it comes to party, power is money. Whomever win gets a chance to royally. FUCK Jamaica. Either way you take it, fly high or fly low, we are going to be screwed without any sorts of Vaseline. However, that is not what I am here to speak about. I am speaking about a very hard-working man known as Leroy Livermore that lives in Old Brayton, that is in Portmore. Mr. Livermore goes back and forth to work in the night time. He has been doing it for years and decades. However, something drastically changed with this election rally stuff in the air. The night before, there was a PNP rally, the night in which an unfortunate incident took place that caused Mr. Livermore, Leroy is alive, is that there was the JLP's turn for their rally. After the rally, like I said, the place where he lost his life, Mr. Livermore, is a PNP stronghold, PNP era. So I don't know if some persons from the JLP, after leaving the rally, saw him and thought that seeing that he is from the era, he must be a PNP, or it was some sorts of random robbery. Like I said, the police have not disclosed what is the motive, me just say. Leroy lost his life doing what he always did. Only thing changed is that there was some sorts of political rivalry. And we see that this politics thing is getting very tribal. Point blank and period.
It is not your birth that makes you Jamaican. It is the choices you make for your country, including supporting a process that would make a Jamaican head of state here, including getting a Jamaican passport.
The Integrity Commission, in their court filing in the case that you brought to try and strike down the act and eliminate the offence for which you are being investigated, have said that you had money in the Ponzi scheme Olint and you got it out, while others suffered losses. You had money in Cash Plus, another Ponzi scheme where people lost lots of money, you got it out. And of course, you had money in SSL, and you were able to withdraw your money before it collapsed. In fact, I would say the only person that Usain Bolt has not been able to catch up with is you. And I want to ask you, how do you think and why do you think the people of Jamaica should trust you to be in charge of the governance of the country for a third term with that track record and with that cloud hanging over your head?
The leader of the opposition is a liar and cannot be trusted. I lost money in Cash Plus and Olint. However, the PNP accepted and received $1 million from Olint. He has no credibility to talk about Ponzi scheme. They benefited from the Ponzi scheme to fund their election campaign. He questions my wife's integrity about development. My wife and my family are hardworking Jamaicans. We started off with taxes like many other Jamaicans, and I have worked hard. He has sought to weaponize that. But the people who receive me when I go into the country, they say, Andrew, don't worry. No weapon formed against you shall prosper.
First of all, I think the Prime Minister repeated innuendo or direct attack which has been leveled by his party on my nationality. And, you know, I just wanted to just make it absolutely clear that I am indeed born here as a Jamaican. Here is my birth certificate, and it shows I was born at the University Hospital on July 19th, 1965, and it's right here. I hope your camera can pick it up. And I have a copy for you, Prime Minister, right here. And I wish you could provide me with a copy of your certification, but of course you can't do so.
One of the biggest topics on social media, in the news, in a real life, was the latest debate that was held on national TV, TVJ, CVM, and all of them, where it was mano a mano, meaning man versus man, meaning Mr. Marky G versus Andrew Craven A. Now, people, there were certain things that were said. However, one specific or a couple of specific things stood out like a dub plate that clogged Andrew Holness in his head. Andrew Holness tried, however, it seems as if Marky G had the upper hand. And this is based on what Andrew Holness said when he was claiming that, listen, Marky G is not a Jamaican. Marky G cannot be the Prime Minister of Jamaica because he was not born in a Jamaica. He was born in the UK, and he is one of those colonialists, and he is one of those racist persons. However, Marky G brought the proof. Marky G pretty much disrespected or shattered all of what Andrew Holness was saying. However, Andrew Holness would strike back, and he claims that Marky G got some sort of sweetheart deal as it pertains to him being the owner, CEO of a big company known as DB&G back in a couple of decades ago, maybe about a decade and a half ago. So, people, I want you to take a look at exactly what Andrew Holness had to say, and then I'll give my piece.
The leader of the opposition, however, also had a report from the Contractor General previously, which found that they benefited from public resources in an irregular way. They termed it a sweetheart deal. In my report, there is no such thing. None of my resources are ever connected to any public funds or any public resources. However, for the leader of the opposition, the report was very clear that their operations were considered to be irregular.
JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness. Mr. Golding, in his response, said he has disclosed all his assets, noting that his statutory declarations have been certified by the Integrity Commission.
Now, people, let me make this very clear. This is my disclaimer before I proceed. I am neither JLP nor PNP. However, JLP has been doing a whole bunch of questionable, corrupted things that makes one have to wonder, is this the party that we would still want to be the leading party, the government of Jamaica, to manage the affairs of Jamaica, when it is quite obvious that there's a whole bunch of corruption? And I am not trying to say that as it pertains to the PNP, they are perfect. So therefore, I am saying that we have to choose between the lesser of two evils. Should we give somebody that got 9 years a chance to continue doing the same old corruption that we've seen? Truth be told, as it pertains to crime, and giving credit to Mr. Blake, who is the Commissioner of Police, we say crime has reduced drastically. So if that would be one of the reasons, or the reason that I would probably vote for the JLP, which I won't vote for the PNP either, which is going to sound controversial to a lot of persons who are going to say, if you want change. However, I am not going to marry a whore over a slut just because I want to be married. So therefore, if I don't see neither of these two parties qualify and representing me, then I am going to just refrain from even voting. That is my point. Now, people, like I said, Marky G answered a couple of questions as to if he's a real Jamaican or not. And you cannot get any realer when you have the actual birth certificates. And the next thing, if you are a father of a child or the child of a father, and that father is a United States or UK citizen, wouldn't it be the responsibility of that father to give you an opportunity at a better place where you can get better opportunity? Any father that did not do that, or any child that did not want better for himself, he has to be a bum or a croff. As it pertains to Andrew Holness and his statutory declaration, we see he is here to answer that question. He did not answer that question when he was asked last night. He did not answer that question, and it is not official that he declared his statutory declaration. So therefore, those are facts. So when Andrew Holness comes and he speaks about DB and G and some sorts of sweetheart deal, we know that there was something that happened, but where are your facts? What are the facts? What are you speaking specifically? Are you just throwing out useless, senseless allegations because that is a form of desperation? People, in my opinion, that is exactly what it is. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, it is called surprise, surprise, surprise. Based on some breaking news, it is said that it is confirmed that a police corporal has shot and injured his spouse in a place known as License, Lyssons, License, that is in St. Elizabeth, that occurred on Wednesday night. Well, I guess it's probably about a night or two ago. Based on the information, it is said that the couple had a dispute, verbal altercation turned physical. The lady's spouse allegedly, based on the policeman's side of the story, rushed him with a kitchen utensil. And then, in defense of his life, him wheel and pop off the government license issue firearm and him lend her a couple. Don't think that she is gone as we got this news, however, don't know her situation either. Now, I don't know what it is, if there's some sort of natural mystic, mad mystic in the air that is blowing all over Jamaica. Something in the water, something in the food, or the devil is just on a world tour. All sorts of demon and evil spirits are just floating around. But persons that we put on a pedestal, meaning a police officer, that is supposed to have a certain temperament, anger management under control. We say they are just like the average Joe or Jane. As soon as I get some more pertinent information, I'll be sure to divulge ASAP. Point blank and period.
A 12-year-old was among 3 people arrested during a police operation in Portmore, St. Catherine, Thursday morning. The operation was carried out by officers from the Specialized Operations Division. A multi-caliber rifle and ammunition were found on the veranda of a house in the community. All 3 individuals were taken into custody in connection with the seizure. The main suspect is believed to be linked to the Umbrella Gang based in Newlands, Portmore.
So the next thing that is popping in the news, based on the video that you just saw, courtesy of TVJ News, 12-year-old arrested or taken into custody, whichever one, don't know the difference. Them, him and 2 other adults further told that rifle that you just saw. The rifle is alleged to belong to a member of a gang. Now, people, when we see stuff like this, we should be very concerned. Reasons for concern. Concern not only that you have these waste men, waste women that are criminal elements that don't know to differentiate them gangster lifestyle from them family lifestyle. So in other words, they put other person's life in jeopardy. Obviously, they don't care about themselves. More than likely, a criminal element, somebody with some sorts of machine like that, have little conscience, little heart, little morals, little ethics, none at all. So it's not as if we should be surprised. But me just say, we've seen so many cases in which you hear say gun go off in a people's house. Many cases last year, this year. And you hear say little picnic lose them life, get badly injured, turn into a vegetative state. And people they on the run eventually when them catch them as some family member who had the gun put down carelessly, end up the little picnic, lose their life. And then these people get locked up, get a 15 years bid, minimum mandatory. People like me say, Jamaica is in a very sad state of affair, and this is yet a next perfect example. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, it is called, will your foreign affairs, will your government represent you? Make sure that your rights are given. If you are ever deported from any foreign country, in this case, I am speaking about United States of America. Such is the case of a man, Orville Etoria, that did not get the representation from Jamaica, which is his birthright, which is a nation that if he commits any sorts of crime, he should be sent back to Jamaica, not to a place called Eswatini, which is formerly Swaziland, that is in Africa, the continent of Africa. Now, people, this is a story, this is the criminal record of Mr. Arville Etoria. Serious criminal of some serious crime in which he was convicted for. On or about 1997, he was released in 2021. So he did maybe about 24 to 25 years if my maths treats me correctly. He was charged for second-degree murder, also fire peace. Under the new Trump regime, the new policy of immigration, he was deemed to be one of those barbaric criminals. Don't know if they were trying to send him back to Jamaica. Don't know if he was fighting his deportation. So therefore, there was some sorts of slowing up in the paperwork to get him back to Jamaica from whence he came, his birthright place. He ended up in a place known as Eswatini, which is formerly Swaziland, which is a part of the African continent, under some contract that they had with the US immigration and government under the Trump's policy. Now, since that man was being deported, persons are wondering and pondering, how is it that Jamaica did not get him deported back? Like I said, don't know the circumstance. If he was fighting his deportation, I know say under the Trump regime, they don't have too much patience. So therefore, if you are itching, they are going to do whatever they deem possible for them in the best interest of the country, or just under some sorts of racist-ish and understand he's a criminal. So therefore, deportation, especially for a serious crime, is only inevitable. So I want you to take a look to what some lawyers, what some Swiss citizens of Eswatini is saying, what some Jamaicans are saying as it pertains to that man's circumstance, and then I'll give my piece.
Described by the Jamaican government as diplomatically sensitive, Orville Etoria, the Jamaican man deported to Eswatini, has now spent over a month in a country he has never called home. The man, described as a reformed convict in an editorial by NY Carib News, has been displaced by default due to his almost 30-year-old convictions. Since then, the Jamaican government has remained largely silent on the matter, offering little details as the questions continue to mount. In July, when I sought answers from Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, she gave the repeated refrain, "No headline will help." But developments in Eswatini suggest the situation is far more than a diplomatic back and forth. Human rights attorneys, along with other advocacy groups in the Southern African nation, have taken the Eswatini kingdom to its high court, challenging the constitutionality of the deportation, which involved 5 foreign nationals, including Mr. Etoria. The matter was filed on August 14. Eswatini-based lead attorney Mzwandile Masuku tells Radio Jamaica News that there are serious questions surrounding arbitrary detention and a lack of due process.
The long and short of our application speaks to bringing the deported individuals to Swaziland, keeping them in custody without them having access to attorneys through an agreement that has not been vetted by Parliament as per our Constitution. We are also specific in calling upon the Commissioner for Correctional Services to also demonstrate what legislation enables her to keep these deported individuals.
There are heightened concerns given Eswatini, formerly Swaziland's international reputation for human rights violations, including alleged extrajudicial killings and harsh prison conditions.
To take a person that has already served their sentence and place them in a maximum correctional facility is in itself something that is worth questioning.
What is the typical treatment of persons who are held in that sort of facility?
For other clients, and it's not nice, whether you're dealing about the environment, the issue of the food, the treatment, the overcrowding.
Eswatini-based attorney Mzwandile Masuku. The Eswatini government has said the men who were being held in isolated units in unnamed facilities were considered in transit, as they would ultimately be returned to their home countries. And confusion still surrounds Etoria's removal from the United States, as the Jamaican government has insisted that it has never refused the return of any citizen. But there may be hope for the deportee, as the Foreign Affairs Ministry has revealed that a representative from the High Commission in South Africa, accompanied by the Honorary Consul for Jamaica in Eswatini, paid a consular visit to Etoria, confirming information received from our overseas sources. The ministry in the release advised that he had received regular medical attention and arrangements are being made for further connection with his family. Checks made by Radio Jamaica News reveal that Etoria is one of 2 Jamaicans deported from the U.S. to a third country. The other was sent to Cuba. The third country deportation decision could contravene the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, which instructs that the government of each national should be contacted for removal proceedings. Both Jamaica and the U.S. are signatories. In 1997, Etoria was charged for second-degree murder and criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree. He was paroled in 2021 after serving time in one of the most notorious prisons in upstate New York. In the meantime, immigration attorney Winston Tucker is expressing grave concern about the delay in bringing Etoria home.
Early return to Jamaica of Etoria is not enough. The ministry must speak to the delay of his return to Jamaica, since their statement suggests that the United States had a valid removal order. That being the case, what are the legal impediments keeping him out of Jamaica? Why the mandatory consular notification as required by the Vienna Convention was not complied with? Remember, there are quite a few overseas nationals who depend on their government.
Immigration attorney Winston Tucker. Meanwhile, in Jamaica, public concern continues to mount.
One of our own was sent off to a place like Eswatini without even being given the chance to return home. Jamaica is their birthright as it's mine, and no matter the circumstances, they should have been sent back to their homeland.
How can you take up someone and send them to another country that they know nothing about? That does not make sense.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has yet to confirm a return date for Mr. Etoria. A strong diplomatic move or a humanitarian crisis in the making. It is yet to be seen.
So people, like I said, that is the edited version of the newscast in which they were given detailed information as to exactly what took place. Now people, at the end of the day, if you're a Jamaican, that is your birthright. Whatever it is that you did, as despicable as it might be, Jamaica still has to accept you back. Based on a treaty through the Geneva Convention that was signed, Jamaica a signatory, United States a signatory. So therefore, they should not violate, but we understand under the tutelage or under Mr. Trump's, he do anything that he feels like. He has no respect for law, rules, or anything. None at all. However, Jamaica should stand its ground, but we understand whenever you are licky, such as Swaziland and Jamaica is. Whenever you don't bring anything to the table other than your too long, and that means that you will take any sorts of ish. And that is the problem in the circumstance as it pertains to the third party deportation to Swaziland or Eswatini, and also Jamaica not acting swift enough to make sure that their citizen is not deported, as despicable as he might be. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Bless up.